Hey, Strat fans, what's going on? It's Colonel Strat, the Strategy Extraordinaire here, and today, excuse me, I'm going to be showing you a rather simple tactic. I wouldn't even really call it a tactic more than a strategy, like a way to compromise your armoring, because there isn't really much strategy involved in the tactic. But what you want to do is like, so let's take the orcs here. If you noticed, I have pretty much all melee units. Now what is this going to do? So this is going to generate Waaagh points. So this tactic, all it involves around is using this game mechanic and cheesing it out, the Waaagh mechanic. So you just have to keep people in melee constantly. As long as you have your guys in melee, you'll be able to pop this over and over and over again and just do so much damage that you'll be able to overwhelm any enemy. Now it works better with different Waaghs. Like if I was playing on a regular campaign, I'd have Grimgor's Waaagh or Grom's Waaagh. I actually think Grom's Waaagh is the best for this tactic because his Waaagh heals his people by an insane amount of healing. So he can take like very cheap units like Gobos and just overheal them to out heal anything that's done to him. So I really do enjoy that. But for the purposes of the tactic, I'm going to do it in a skirmish so you can see that it can be effective no matter what commander you have. So let's get right into it, and we're just going to charge straight in. Charge straight in. Let's pause real quick so we can all get a nice juicy target to take. Alright, Grimgor, you go right for the leader. Now, the way it works is they have to be engaged in melee. So every unit has to be engaged in some sort of melee to contribute to the Waaagh points. So the enemy will try to get their skirmish units around. That's why you need to bring some fast cav to get around that. And then I do have a couple rock golems that are gonna try to they're going to try to be throwing things, and I might let them throw a few things, like a few rocks, but I'm probably going to want to get them into melee as well. Let's have them throw a few rocks. Oh, that's the only one that throws rocks. Okay, so that's perfect. That's perfect. The more melee we have, the better. Alright, let's unpause and go into this melee. And we're just going to charge straight forward. Now this is the big one. He's going to throw rocks a little bit. Get some kills with that. But I am going to send him in after a couple rocks. Alright. Let's go around. Cut off these reinforcements. Where's Grimgor going? Come on, Grimgor, let's go.
Let's do this.
Yeah, we're starting to generate those Waaagh points now. Alright. Now once these boar boy biggins go in, we'll generate a whole lot of Waaagh points too. Now it counts for entities in melee, so now I have to send my golem in. And that means I have to catch the enemy crossbows and put them in melee too. That way I can get more melee on them. Not just to protect my line, but also to get them in melee to get more Waaagh points. Alright. And here we go. And we're going to get our first Waaagh pop. And that didn't take long at all. It only took a minute to pop it. And there we go, first Waaagh popped. Now this can go on over and over again because it only takes a few seconds to recharge. It only lasts a few seconds, but again, the more that we keep in melee, the better it is. And like going all around and just continuing to smash them up in melee. Look, we're already up there again, getting close to it. Keep them in melee. Come on, let's keep it going. The more entities there is, the better. Yeah, and then we have, it doubles every time you cast it. So there is a way that they did patch it to where it's not cheesable anymore. But again, if you keep your melee, your entities charged into combat, melee combat, it'll still count. Like these guys right here that are routing, they're still in melee combat, so it's counting. It's counting to help towards here. As long as you keep them in melee combat, it counts. So that's why it's great to have cavalry to charge at them. That way you can keep that cav in melee combat and fast moving monster units. That way you can keep the Waaaghs coming. Usually when I use this tactic, I get a Waaagh. The only time I have to use it multiple times is when it's up against a very, very dangerous enemy. This one was a pretty simple one, even though they did have some tier 3 units as well as us. Like if we're going up against a dwarven army, which I'll show you, we'll be able to trigger a lot more Waaaghs. It'll be it'll take a lot longer because we'll have to fight a lot more because the dwarves are very heavily armored. But bringing black orcs, best unit you could bring no matter what you're playing. It is the best unit overall. And look, we're already almost to get a second Waaagh, even though we've pretty much won the battle. Due to the flagellants, we still haven't won it completely. But yeah, so just melee overload, you get a whole bunch of Waaagh points, and I will show you up against a dwarven army as well, just so I can show you the power of multiple Waaghs during one battle. Even though you will take more losses because it doesn't, this one won't heal you. Groms will. That's why I say Groms is the best, because it buffs your damage and it gives you a heal. So it really is the best one. Alrighty, so we only had one Waaagh pop off for that one because it was a simple army. Let's go into a battle with a dwarf army. This is a perfect counter to a lot of dwarven tactics or any heavily defensive tactics, because you're just able to keep pushing. If you get in there, you got to play very aggressive to get this, and that's the whole key to this tactic. Alright, and so here we have a up against a dwarven army, so it will be a more tougher challenge. We did bring the same army because I do believe that it'll still be able to take them out, but we're going up against slayers and some longbeards, a decent tier 2, tier 3 force that will have, most of these units will be around at this time when we get access to these units. So it's a pretty typical fight against the dwarves, but I'm going to show you just how powerful this can be when you maximize it to its full effect. So without further ado, let's get into it, and we'll pause again. Even though I know I don't like using the pause feature if I don't have to. Let's issue orders. Alright. Alright, we're going to send them over there and them over there. I'm going to have this attacking into the grudge throwers, and this was going to go towards those grudge throwers. And I'll send Grimgor right for their enemy captain. Alright, let's get going. No, go that way. And we're going to take some fire from the grudge throwers and all that, but hopefully we can do some damage to their artillery and then smash through them as well. Our goal is to just get everybody in melee. Even if we have to take some shots from, the enemy archers and all that, if we can get everyone into melee, it'll be worth it, and we'll be able to overpower them and keep our casualties at minimum. Alright. Let's get going. Alright. Now we're getting into their melee. Come on, get in there. Get your ass up there. Alright, now we're already starting to rack it up, but we gotta be careful because we've already lost some trolls. What's this? Oh, it's a hex. Let's do it on home. Do the shard armor as well. That'll do some damage. Now, it's not, contrary to popular belief, it is not because of armor or like damage, physical damage, that causes the Waaagh effect. It is purely based on entities in melee combat. So the more entities you have in melee combat, the more damage you're going to do. That's why I'm not using the effect on this rogue idol as much, because it doesn't benefit the strategy. All right, we're about to pop it, and that's only been 2 minutes in because we had to walk around to them. So now we popped it. So we're gonna do a little bit more damage. Everyone's in melee except for a few. Get them in melee. Get them in melee. The more melee you have, you want to keep them in melee. So that's the thing. You just keep them in melee. Even if it's not against a target that's really good for them, if you keep them in melee, you're just going to get more and more points. So we're already up a quarter of the way. Yeah, there we go. Now we're already halfway there. We're going to be able to pop another one this match. And we're already doing better. Yeah, even if it makes no sense, you just charge them as much as you can. Because you want to get that as many buffs as you can. And that's the thing. This is very micromanaged like tactic, but it works.
Oh boy, Biggins! Let's go!
Come on, get in there. Get in there.
This ain't proper fighting!
There we go, we're about to get another one. It's just because we're keeping them in melee.
Time for slaughtering!
There we go. And then pop our second one. And now we're starting to turn the tide. Yep, because we popped the second one. We're turning the tide now.
Black Oaks Road! What you want? Black Oaks Road! Let's go!
Yeah, you don't want to keep them idle at all. Even if you have to charge them right through units, that can work as well, to your advantage.
Show us the enemy! Oh boy, Biggins! Smash him!
Alright. That probably is enough to win the battle for us. But we're going to keep charging all of them in. Because, you know, it doubles it every time. So the more times we do it, the more it's going to take to get advanced. But by the time that we've done this, we've already pretty much won the battle. The enemy's pretty much beaten. And you see the power of this tactic with just how much we're able to overwhelm the enemy defenses. It's literally just one guy left, and that's the Slayer, I believe. Yep. that Slayer's dead, then we're good. But it does create clumps, so be careful when attacking. So, you know, like me, I was a little reckless, but I did it for a reason. I did it so that I could generate as much Waaagh as possible, and it does work pretty well. But depending on the armor that you have, you could get 1, 2, maybe even 3 Waaghs out if you do it very well. Somehow he's not getting hit at all. He's not getting hit at all, man, somehow. Where's his unit cap at? There we go. That warp shard armor dealt with him. Alrighty, so that was the Waaagh tactic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tactics video. I know it's not a super in-depth tactic, but it does require a little bit of micromanaging so that you can generate Waaagh points as fast as possible, and it does work very well up against a very heavily armored foe, because depending on the Waaagh you have, if you have Grimgors, it does very well at punching through enemies. However, it doesn't do much to keep you sustained. I personally like Grom's the best because of the sustain. It is insane, and I will show that more when I cover him in his faction guide. So, Strat fans, I hope you enjoyed this little tactic video and this little cheese that I showed you. So, yeah, it's not really much of a cheese as just knowing a game mechanic, and it's very intrinsic to know playing a greenskin, because you can't always like for this tactic to work, you can't bring any ranged units because ranged units do not count. Only the melee units do, and it shows how effective it is, especially against an armored foe. This is the decisive victory because we only took so many casualties. Our Black Orcs didn't take any. So, without further ado, Strat fans, I'm glad that you stuck around for this tactic. Keep it strategic. Colonel out.